divine realm, a place of endless light and celestial beauty, now bore the weight of an impending storm. The shimmering spires of the god city gleamed beneath a sky that was slowly darkening, as if the heavens themselves sensed the growing dread. Marduk, the supreme god, stood at the heart of his palace, his gaze distant as he contemplated the forces that were gathering against him. Tiamat, Ishtar, and Enlil had united the three most powerful and dangerous races, the giants, dragons, and monsters, into a formidable army, one that would soon march against the divine realm. But Marduk was not alone. He had allies, powerful deities who had stood with him through countless ages, and now, as the shadow of war loomed ever closer, he called them to his side. The assembly of the gods. The grand hall of Marduk's palace was a place of awe-inspiring grandeur, its walls carved from celestial stone that shimmered with a light of its own. Columns of purest marble rose to a ceiling so high it seemed to merge with the sky, and at the center of the hall stood a vast table, around which the gods now gathered. One by one, they appeared, their forms radiant with divine energy, each bringing with them the unique power that marked their dominion over the cosmos. Nabu, the god of wisdom and writing, was the first to arrive, his presence calm and steady, his eyes gleaming with a deep, ancient knowledge. Beside him stood Shamash, the god of the sun and justice, his form surrounded by a golden light that bathed the hall in warmth. Next came Nana, the moon god, his face serene, his gaze as distant and unfathomable as the night sky. Adad, the god of storms and rain, followed, his presence charged with the energy of a gathering tempest, his eyes flickering with lightning. Anu, the father of the gods, arrived with the weight of eons in his stride, his gaze steady and firm, the very embodiment of divine authority. Ninurta, the god of war and hunting, entered with a warrior's grace, his muscles taut with the promise of action, his spear gleaming with a deadly light. Ereshkigal, the goddess of the underworld, came forth from the shadows, her presence a cold and silent reminder of death's inevitable embrace. Dumuzi, the god of fertility and shepherds, followed her, his form vibrant with the energy of life and growth. Ninma, the great mother, was next, her presence warm and nurturing, her eyes filled with the wisdom of ages. Nanchi, the goddess of prophecy and justice, entered quietly, her gaze thoughtful, as if she could already see the threads of fate weaving around them. Gula, the goddess of healing, brought with her a calm strength, her touch promising restoration even in the face of destruction. Finally, Zababa, the god of war and cities, joined them, his armor gleaming with the light of countless battles, his expression resolute. Marduk watched as his allies gathered, their forms glowing with the energy of their divine natures. He could see the concern in their eyes, the unspoken question that hung in the air: how would they defend the divine realm against the oncoming storm? He stood tall, his form glowing with the power of the cosmos, his eyes burning with a fierce determination. "We are at the brink of war," he began, his voice resonating through the grand hall like a distant thunderclap. "Tiamat has united the giants, the dragons, and the monsters. She, Ishtar, and Enlil intend to bring their combined might against us. This will be a battle like no other, a battle for the very survival of the divine race." There was a heavy silence in the hall, the weight of Marduk's words settling over the gathered gods like a shroud. It was Nabu who first broke the silence, his voice calm but laced with concern. "Marduk, we have faced threats before, but none as formidable as this. Tiamat's forces are vast and powerful. How do you propose we defend against such a force?" Marduk's gaze swept over the gathered gods, his expression unreadable. "We must create a multi-layered defense," he said, his voice filled with the authority of a supreme ruler. "Each of you will have a crucial role to play. Our defenses will be like the rings of a mighty tree, each layer protecting the core from destruction. The first layer, the shield of light." Marduk turned to Shamash, his gaze steady. "Shamash, you are the god of the sun, the bringer of light and justice. I entrust you with the creation of a barrier of pure light, one that will encircle the entire divine realm. This shield must be impenetrable, a wall of radiant energy that will repel the darkness that Tiamat seeks to bring upon us." Shamash nodded, his expression resolute. "I will create a shield that no shadow can breach, a barrier that will protect us from the chaos that Tiamat commands." The light of the sun will burn away any who seek to breach it. Nana, the moon god, stepped forward, his face serene. I will add the light of the moon to this shield, he said, his voice soft but filled with resolve. It will be a shield that shines both day and night, a constant barrier against the darkness. Marduk nodded in approval. Together, your combined light will form the first layer of our defense, a shield that will protect the divine realm from the first wave of Tiamat's assault. The second layer, the storm of wrath. Marduk's gaze shifted to Adad, his eyes filled with the anticipation of the storm god's power. Adad, your dominion is over the storms and the rain. I task you with creating a tempest that will rage beyond the shield of light. Let it be a storm so fierce, so powerful, that it will tear apart any who dare approach our realm. Adad's eyes flickered with the light of distant lightning as he nodded. I will summon a storm the likes of which has never been seen, he growled, his voice deep and resonant. Thunder will roar, lightning will strike, and the winds will howl with the fury of the gods. No enemy will survive the storm I will bring down upon them. Ninurta, the god of war, stepped forward, his spear gleaming in the light of the hall. I will command the winds of war, he said, his voice filled with the promise of violence. Let them carry the storm's fury to the enemy, driving them back and scattering their forces. The storm will be our weapon, and I will wield it with deadly precision. Marduk's gaze was stern as he nodded. The storm will be the second layer of our defense, a force of nature that will tear through the ranks of Tiamat's army before they even reach our gates. The third layer, the wrath of the earth. Turning his gaze to Ninmah, Marduk's expression softened slightly. Ninmah, Great Mother, you who are the very essence of the earth, I entrust you with the power of the ground beneath our feet. When the enemy breaches the storm, let the earth itself rise against them. Let it swallow them whole, drag them into the depths, and crush them with the weight of mountains. Ninmah's eyes were filled with a deep, ancient wisdom as she nodded. The earth will rise at my command, she said, her voice as steady as the ground beneath them. Mountains will move, the ground will quake, and the very stones will fight for us. The enemy will find no solid ground to stand upon, and those who seek to challenge us will be buried beneath the weight of the world. Dumuzi, the god of fertility and shepherds, stepped forward, his presence vibrant with life. I will summon the life force of the earth to aid us, he said, his voice filled with a quiet strength. The roots of the trees, the vines, the very grass will rise up against our foes, entangling them, holding them fast. The earth will be our ally, and it will not yield to the forces of chaos. Marduk nodded, his expression one of grim determination. The earth will be the third layer of our defense, a relentless force that will ensnare and destroy any who survive the storm. The fourth layer, the voices of the dead. Marduk's gaze turned to Ereshkigal, the queen of the underworld, her presence a cold, dark shadow that seemed to chill the very air around her. Ereshkigal, you who rule over the dead, I call upon you to raise the spirits of the fallen. Let their voices rise from the underworld, their wails and cries a chorus that will strike fear into the hearts of our enemies. Let the dead walk the earth once more, to fight on our behalf. Ereshkigal's eyes glowed with an eerie light as she nodded, her voice a whisper that seemed to come from the depths of a tomb. The dead will rise at my command, she said softly. They will be our silent sentinels, our vengeful spirits. They will haunt the battlefield, their presence a constant reminder of the fate that awaits those who oppose us. Nanshi, the goddess of prophecy, stepped forward, her gaze thoughtful. I will lend my foresight to this effort, she said, her voice filled with the weight of fate. I will guide the spirits, direct them where they are needed most. They will strike where the enemy is weakest, where their defenses are most vulnerable. Marduk's expression was solemn as he nodded. The dead will be the fourth layer of our defense, a spectral force that will sow terror and confusion among Tiamat's ranks. The fifth layer, the healing of the wounded. Marduk's gaze shifted to Gula, the goddess of healing, her presence a soothing balm amid the tension that filled the hall. Gula, I entrust you with the care of our wounded. When the battle is joined, there will be those who fall, but we cannot afford to lose a single warrior. Your healing touch must be swift and sure, restoring our strength even as the battle rages around us. Gula's eyes were filled with a calm determination as she nodded. "I will be the hand that heals," she said softly, her voice like a gentle breeze. "No wound will go unattended, no injury will go untreated. The fallen will rise again, ready to fight once more. Our enemies will find that we are a force that cannot be diminished." Zababa, the god of war, stepped forward, his armor gleaming with a fierce light. "I will ensure that our forces remain strong," he growled, his voice filled with the promise of battle. "I will stand with Gula, protecting her as she works, ensuring that our warriors are ready to fight with renewed vigor. The enemy will not find us weakened, but stronger with every passing moment." Marduk's expression was one of grim resolve as he nodded. "The healing of the wounded will be the fifth layer of our defense, a relentless cycle of restoration that will keep our forces strong even as the battle takes its toll. The final layer, the heart of the divine." Finally, Marduk's gaze turned inward, his expression one of deep contemplation. "The final layer of our defense will be here, at the heart of the divine realm," he said, his voice filled with a quiet, unyielding resolve. "If Tiamat's forces breach all other defenses, they will find us waiting. We will stand together, united, and we will not yield. The divine realm is our home, our sanctuary, and we will defend it with all the power at our disposal." Anu, the father of the gods, stepped forward, his presence radiating with the authority of ages. "We will stand with you, Marduk," he said, his voice deep and resonant. "We will fight to the last, and the divine realm will not fall. We are the gods, the rulers of the cosmos, and we will not be brought low by the forces of chaos." Marduk's gaze swept over the assembled gods, his eyes filled with a fierce determination. "Together, we will create a defense that cannot be breached, a fortress of light, storm, earth, and spirit. Tiamat and her allies may come, but they will find that the divine realm is a place of power, a place that will not be conquered. We are the gods, and this is our home. We will fight, and we will prevail." The gods nodded in unison, their resolve solidified, their determination unwavering. They were ready. Each had their role to play in the multi-layered defense of the divine realm. Each would bring their power to bear against the storm that was coming. The calm before the storm. As the gods departed from the grand hall, each to prepare their own part in the defense, Marduk remained, standing alone in the vast chamber. The weight of leadership pressed down on him, the responsibility of defending not just his realm, but the very fabric of the cosmos. He could feel the tension in the air, the storm clouds gathering on the horizon, and he knew that soon the heavens would be torn asunder by the fury of the battle to come. Marduk's thoughts turned to Tiamat, the ancient goddess of chaos, who had once been his enemy and was now his greatest threat. He could feel her presence, a dark shadow on the edge of his consciousness, a constant reminder of the war that was approaching. She was powerful, cunning, and relentless, and Marduk knew that she would not stop until she had torn the divine realm apart. But Marduk was determined. He would not let the divine realm fall. He would stand firm, and with the help of his allies, he would repel the forces of chaos that threatened to engulf the cosmos. The storm was coming, but Marduk was ready. He had faith in the strength of the gods, in the power of their combined efforts, and in the resilience of the divine realm. The battle would be fierce, the cost high, but Marduk was confident that they would prevail. And so, Marduk stood alone in the grand hall, his gaze fixed on the distant horizon, where the first tendrils of the approaching storm could be seen. The light of the divine realm glowed around him, a beacon of hope in the darkness that was fast approaching. The battle for the cosmos was about to begin, and Marduk would ensure that the divine realm would not fall. Not today, not ever. In the silence of the grand hall, Marduk prepared himself for the war to come, his resolve unshakable, his determination absolute. The gods were ready, the defenses in place, and soon, the forces of chaos would meet their match.